Good evening. Thank you so much for being with us for a time of Let's Talk About It. The reason why we formulated this is so oftentimes we are misunderstanding each other. And right now in our nation of discord and racism and political activists and everything is going on, I think that sometimes we just don't understand each other. And I think that it would make a big difference if we could just sit down and talk about our differences. We're not going to all get along. We're not going to all agree, but at least we ought to be able to sit down and talk about it. Tell me, right now it's voting time, and I decided to bring some of our people together and hear what their plans are and how they plan on making the city better and whatnot. And I thank you so much for tuning in with us today. Those of you that's in your living room or wherever you are, thank you so much for listening. We got some powerful guests here with us. We have Sophie Martin, who's a councilwoman for Ward 1, and we got Domingo Gardner, who's running for council for the first time for Helena. And so we wanted to hear their discourse, no trick questions or whatnot. Just wanted as I said, if you could sit down and talk directly to the person that was running, what will you ask them? And hopefully we'll get into some of that today. I heard some of the council that was running a couple of weeks ago, and believe it or not, we're in a pickle, as I told them, because if we stay home, the economy gets bad, and if we go out, we are subject to the pandemic. So we need some folks that I believe that will go outside of what me can do and say we need something greater than us. So that's where we are today, and that's what we decided to talk about, and that's why we have Miss Martin here and Miss Garner here to discuss some of the issues. So put your spoon down, pick up your cup of coffee or whatever you have, and listen closely to their wisdom today. Ladies, thank you all so much for being with us. Our first guest on Let's Talk About It. We got some differences, but somehow we ought to be able to sit down and talk things over. Sometimes relationships end because people just won't talk. So that's what we're going to do today, is talk. Like I told you all earlier, there's no trick questions and whatnot. It's just I want to know and give you an opportunity to tell the people, because at the end of the day, we oftentimes we have like 500-600 views and whatnot, and people tuning in on YouTube. So today you got an opportunity to go into their living rooms, to go into their secret place and tell them this is what Sophie is about, and this is what Domingo is about. This is why you need to vote for me. Okay? So Sophie, you are going unopposed, is that right?
Yes, sir. I'm very blessed. I'm going unopposed.
So having been that you are going unopposed, what's your plans going forward? What you plan on? The city is here, and here's what I hear a lot of the candidates say, which I have a problem with personally, is they say, well, the city is doing great and it's doing wonderful and it's doing this but we can't do what we did to get us where we are. We need something to get us further. So my question to them were, if it's not broke, why fix it?
Yeah.
So what I'm asking you is, what you endeavor to do going forward, particularly for your ward.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about progress in Ward 1 first. Mm-hmm. Ward 1 has come a long way. In the last 12 years, we've been able to demolish over a dozen abandoned buildings. We have more that are set to be abolished or demolished in Ward 1. And these are buildings that have been abandoned, left alone. They're a danger, and an eyesore to the community. Those have been demolished. We've widened Highway 11 to kind of help with the traffic flow. And then we're upgrading Abbey Woolley Park right off Highway 11. It's getting a full facelift. We're spending almost $500,000 on that park, and new bathrooms, playground equipment, new basketball courts, brand new lighting. I mean, it's going to be a huge plus for this community. So we're going to continue to focus on things I like to that improve and enhance the lifestyles and the lives for others in Ward 1. From a citywide standpoint, as far as moving forward, I think we really need to bring in more business. You know, just find a way to attract more business. We have District 31 that was scheduled to be opened up about this time, but
what happened to District 31? I thought that it would be open.
And we did too.
Is it still on go? Or?
It is. It is the last. We talked to the developers a couple of weeks ago, and it is still moving forward. The city has approved everything except for their final design plan, which has changed a little bit, and the Alabaster Water Board's approved everything. So once that gets going, I think a lot of us will be, really happy and kind of our minds put at ease, because we really want, we want that shopping center in there because it's going to drive our property values up. It's going to help our school system because you've got so much more tax base. So really, and then the other thing is keeping up with the growth in our city. Alabaster's grown very fast, and a lot of that's due to having our own city school system now. Okay. That city school system's it's done wonders for Alabaster. So, we just need to manage that as well.
Okay, Ms. Garner, this is your first time running for office, and if it's your first time, what brought you to decide to run for office?
Well, I've always been thinking about it. Last term I missed the application process, so this time I made sure that I did not miss it. But I always just like to be involved in the community, and I just wanted to be a part of what the city of Helena is doing. So I decided to go ahead and run. I am running against Chris Van Cleve, so I'm not running unopposed as Ms. Martin, but and it's an empty seat, so I think the current Helena City Council is doing a great job as far as adding, as she was talking about, adding retail to our community, because that will give us good tax dollars so that we can continue to help the school system. We are in Shelby County, but we can do our part as our community and help our schools out. So I definitely want to be a part of what the current council is doing, being able to increase resources for the schools, and we like you said, we have a lot of growth in Helena. Of course, our property value is going up because we have that high school there. We have more families coming in, so just want to be a part of the community, add a different perspective to our council, to be able to give them just a different perspective of what people want, or also adding diversity to the council as far as getting perspectives from those around the community, because we do have a diverse community, and I just want to embrace that.
So you think you're ready for politics? I'm told that politics can be a challenge, to say the least.
I'm ready, and I don't think I told you this. A few weeks ago, you had that sermon, "Stay on the Wall," and that's when I was contemplating, and I said, "Well, Lord, I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna sit down and just let someone else." But you had that sermon that "Stay on the Wall," so that really encouraged me. I felt you were talking to me, so that really just encouraged me to step out on faith, because as long as I have the Lord on my side, I could do anything. And my favorite Bible verse is Philippians 4:13.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, I'm going to kind of take you out of your comfort zone a little bit. I like challenging folks. I like stimulating conversations, and sometimes I'm contrary. My wife said I'm just contrary. But I wanted to ask you all something, because this is how I feel in reference to going outside of our city now, going outside of our state, and looking at it from a national perspective. We've got President Biden that is running for president, and this is a very uncomfortable question, but I'm going to start it off. President Biden is running for president, and I read where he's thinking about choosing a female, a black female, for his running mate. And I think just so to get black votes. And I think, to me, I don't know how you feel, but to me that's like reverse discrimination. I mean, that's like racism to another form, to me, to pick somebody because of their color and because of their gender. Seems like it's defeating what we are trying to do. It divides us even more. And I want to know, you powerful women of God, and got y'all own opinion. What you think about it? What you guys, Sophie, you first. What you think about it?
Well, I think Biden is smart enough. If he picks an African American woman to run as his running mate, he's going to select someone who knows what she's doing, who knows what she's getting into. This is not going to be her first rodeo. You know, he will be very smart about that selection. And I'm sure it would be someone, you know, I personally haven't heard, you know, a pool of women he's looking at. I have heard what you mentioned, but I'm sure he has, you know, candidates in mind who, you know, would do an excellent job in that role. And, you know, I do believe in diversity. I think diversity is very important. You know, and when he makes that choice, he just needs to make sure whoever that person is, you know, that they will do a good job. They'll do what's best for our country and for Americans and for our future.
And so you're saying to go outside of the scope of just race.
Oh, for him to go outside the scope? Well, if that's what he wants to do, you know, I think we need to respect his decision and support that decision. You know, for Biden to do that, it would be something that had not been done before. It would be a first. So that would definitely, if that unfolds, that will definitely be interesting to watch. But you know, I think one thing we just need to keep in mind is, you know, the presidential spot is whoever that is and whoever their running mate is, we need to respect the office.
Yeah, absolutely.
And respect his decision. And, you know, I think it'd be great. I think it would be great. I'm excited to see what happens.
I mean, I'm African American woman, so I mean, I think that would be great, but I guess my perspective would be, as she was saying, the person's be qualified regardless of their race.
Yes.
So he'll make that decision on, you know, which candidate, which running mate will be best for him, you know, regardless of their race, just based on their qualifications. I mean, yes, it would be great if he chose African American, but in the same sense, you know, I don't want to just choose African American just because that's their color. Yeah. I want to choose them because that'll be best. We'll be, you know, be able to get along and be able to run the race together and you know, just be qualified. So not just because of the color, just be best qualified person to run with.
And that was my concern when I look outside the box. I mean, I don't want someone to give me something simply because I'm black.
Yeah.
To me, that's to reverse discrimination.
Right.
And last question for you guys. I'm so appreciative for you all taking time out of your schedule and coming. The last question for you guys is we have a dilemma, perhaps nationwide, what to do in reference to our school systems. I know that you all don't have the pool in reference to that, but I'd like to know your perspective on it. going back to school, do we send them back to school or do we keep them home? Do we do viral learning? What's your perspective? Some say if we send them to school, we're sending them to die. And some say if we leave them home, they're not getting what they need. And now I must admit that when you look at the grand scheme of things, I believe that futuristically, of course, this laying out of school, I believe that down the road it's going to show some effect, because everybody don't teach their children at home like the teachers teach at school. But like I said, it's a dilemma, because you don't want to put your children in a harm's way, and you don't want to keep them home where they are not getting what they need. So if let's think outside of the box. If you have the power to decide, what will you decide? Sister Miss Martin. I like to say Sister Martin.
That's all. I'll take it. I like that. Well, if it were my decision, I would follow suit with what the Alabaster City school system is doing right now. I know they are monitoring this on a daily basis. Every day they meet, they assess the situation to make sure that the current plan that they have in place is the one that they want to stick with. I think it's okay right now to send the children back to school under the measures that are going to be taken and under the guidelines that are going to be given. I have a 10-year-old, so she'll be going back to school. We were given the option of online or in-person teaching going into the classroom. And so I'm going to let her go back. Because I trust the leaders, and I trust our superintendent, Dr. Vickers, to make the right decision. And
so they're saying they're going back.
They are, going back on August the 19th. And see, that date was already moved one time. Originally, they were going back August the 12th or 13th, and then they moved it a week. So I'm comfortable with them going back, and I would follow suit with what they're doing, as long as they continue to monitor the situation, which I think, they're doing a very good job at.
Okay, Ms. Garr?
I'm glad that Shelby County has allowed the parents to make their choice instead of, forcing those students to go back, against their will. But I like what the plans that we have. As you said, we have online learning and in person, so that traditional type of class. So I like the way that the parents had the decision, because you want to be comfortable in the decision that you do make. So for those parents that do feel uncomfortable for their students to go back to school, they can choose online learning. My daughter is going back to the traditional classroom. I do feel comfortable with the school system, the measures they have made to be safe for the students. So I definitely appreciate the school systems definitely digging in and making sure that everyone is comfortable with the decision they make. I think they start August the 13th. And so she'll be going back to school. And for those that are doing online learning, definitely, yes, it will be a challenge at times, because if you have 2 or 3 children in your home, sharing the computer, if you don't have multiple resources, that can be a challenge. But, what I've learned, I've talked to several parents, they've been scheduling out. They got their weekly plan of who's going what, at what certain times. They got their lunch planned out. So I think the parents are being, by the school systems telling us a little bit early, the parents are being proactive in planning on how they're going to learn or babysit, or having to get that outside resource to come in and watch their child. So definitely it's great that the parents made the decision
to go back,
to whether to send them back or not. So
well, I know that I'm thinking that perhaps it's a challenge.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a challenge either way.
All of my kids are grown, but I got grandbabies, and they say the wonderful thing about grandkids is you can love them and spoil them and send them home.
Send them back.
Yeah.
But when you got the kids there all day long, it can be stressful.
Oh, yeah.
But I thank you guys so much for
Thank you.
being with us. I admire 2 women that I admire greatly. Domingo, she helps run our church. So I thank y'all so much
Absolutely.
for coming. I
Thank
know you have other things to do, and I praise God for you. I pray God's blessings upon you, that you be successful in your endeavors. And those of you at home, thank you so much for tuning in. I pray that you would be with us next time for Let's Sit Down and Talk. Let's talk about it. Oftentimes we come into disagreement, but if we can talk about it, we can change some things. And then I want to give a shout out. Those of you at home and whatnot, wherever you are, listen, I know you got some video needs and whatnot, but Avila Entertainment Group, they are great guys. Great guys. They will do you excellent work, excellent shooting. 3 young men, the 3 amigos, they do wonderful work. So call them. If you got video needs, you got drone needs, they work well. And if they tell you they're going to be here at 9 o'clock, they're going to be here at 9 o'clock. They start shooting when they say they're going to shoot. So they are punctual, qualified, very high character men. So please do me a favor. If you're tuning in, you got some needs, call them up. You call them up. Their number is 205-914-9174. And ask for Jonathan. That's the best man. You'll get him. You'll get good work. Thank you. Thank you. I pray God's blessing upon you. And until next time, let's talk about it. Go with God. Damdi Allah. Be blessed.